Welcome everyone to the CFO Swinger Watch Report technical analysis video for the trading week of June 23rd through 27th. Now, the following research in each and every single weekly report is a chance at applying your own learn and earn trading system. On top of that, the combination of the weekly report and this technical analysis video will give you a complete top-down analysis on the overall markets and individual trade ideas. Overall, every report will be giving you full guidance in the upcoming trading week, allowing you to cut down on the extensive research time that is usually needed to achieve a successful trading week. So make sure to join us if that is something that truly aligns to your trading goals. Take a look down below at the description box to start that trading journey with us. With that, let's get into the markets. So, as seen here on the weekly time frame for the S&P 500, I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an bigger picture look as to where we've gone and how far we've come since the April lows, right? So, if I expand the time frame here, okay, and let's go all the way down to April's lows, so around 481.80, okay, I want to give you guys a percentage change that we've had since the April low. Okay, if I can, there it is. And if you go all the way up to last Friday's close, okay, roughly speaking, right, we have gone up nearly 23.50%. Okay, and if you go back to the most recent pivot high point, which is right here, 2 weeks ago, we're up over 25.50%. So this is quite a move since April, right? And it's about 2.5 months worth of price action to the upside and recovery. And essentially, we've had a V-shaped recovery, and there's a lot of doubts, including me, that we wouldn't be able to have a V-shaped recovery. But as you guys already know, we were looking for a possibility for a V-shaped recovery since April's lows. In fact, we also got the April low pretty on point, right? We were looking for a very good market low around early April, and that's exactly what we got in early April. So hats off to us, right? So now, based on this overall market view, okay, we are starting to see a little bit of a concerning signal from the weekly time frame on the S&P 500 ETF. And that is, well, we officially made a lower low and a lower high. Well, specifically, the lower high was confirmed because we made a new lower low. And last week, okay, we also had an increased amount of weekly selling volume. Now, in some cases, we tend to, ignore this weekly volume, especially when there's an increase in the selling volume during an uptrend. But due to the fact that we have a bunch of macro factors that are going to be affecting the overall markets in the next couple of weeks, maybe even months, and again, I explain all that in this week's market summary part of the report, so please go back and read the report. There's a good chance that we can be seeing a continued move lower, making textbook lower highs and lower lows. Now, on the weekly time frame as well, there's a lot of room to go down. Why do I say this? Well, first of all, the price was not, well, it hasn't retested the weekly 10 SMA ever since it broke over it in the last week of April. And we didn't even try to retest the weekly 10 SMA on the first week, the following week of May. And so we've continued to rise up higher and higher and higher, completely avoiding a textbook retest that we were supposed to see after we reclaimed the weekly 10 SMA. So maybe, based on all the catalysts and events that are most likely going to happen in the next couple of weeks and months, we could possibly see the prices coming back down to retest the weekly 10 SMA. Now, I'm not calling for a large pullback where we come all the way back down to, let's say 574.50, right? A major weekly level support. All I'm saying is that if we see a very good textbook descending price trend with lower highs and lower lows, we are most likely going to meet up, well, at least retest the weekly 10 SMA here, right? This red line. And so my own subjective prediction is going to be that the prices are most likely going to come back down at around 585 and most likely retest the weekly 10 SMA at the same time, right? So it's going to coincide with this 585 level. Now, if you go down to the daily time frame, all right, things are looking still pretty good, right, compared to that weekly time frame, because yes, we are still making lower lows and lower highs, obviously, but we actually retested the daily 21 SMA last Friday, and that's great because we did not retest the daily 21 SMA ever since, well, you guys can guess, the last week of April, right? So this initial retest here obviously did not give us too much of a confidence for the bulls, right? And in fact gave more confidence to the bears, of course, right? Because we ended up closing right over it, right? Very slightly over it, but we did end up peaking below it from last Friday's lows. So there are characteristics here on the daily time frame where it could be deemed very bearish, but from a technical perspective, I mean, this isn't too bearish. It's a simple retest of the daily 21 SMA after a couple months. So there's a good chance that we can still see some sideways movement. But if you now combine that weekly perspective to the daily time frame, we are most likely looking for that descending consolidation that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, right? And what we should be expecting for. So with the seasonal factors to consider as well, if we do have a nice descending consolidation into end of month, we can be setting up for a very nice overall dip buy that we can take advantage of, because we could be seeing that possible run back up higher into the month of July and the start of quarter 3 of 2025. And again, time is flying by because we're already at quarter 3 of fiscal year 2025. All right. Now, again, just as I've stated in the weekly time frame, the 585 level is very, very important on a weekly perspective. And again, if we do come back down to 585, that will also be a very, very good level to be looking at for a strong level support and kind of a line in the sand level for buyers on the daily time frame as well. And the magnetic $600 level will also be a very, very important level. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see longer ranged or at least widened price ranges on the daily and weekly time frames that are going to be constantly using the 585 and 600 levels as magnets, right? So please make sure to have these two levels on your daily and weekly time frames for the S&P 500 ETF, or ticker symbol SPY. All right, so with that being said, let's take a look at the trade idea for this week, and that is APLD. All right, so Applied Digital Corp, okay, is a pretty momentum-filled name so far right now, but as you guys have probably remembered, or have remembered, we were looking at this name in early January and late February because, well, APLD got a lot of attention, all because of the fact that NVIDIA was invested into this company, right? And there was some other news as well, but APLD is basically a huge AI infrastructure play specifically GPU intensive AI infrastructure play, which is again the reason why NVIDIA is so interested, because again they have really great powerful GPUs. And again, if you guys don't know what that is, just simply Google it. I'm not going to be going over it here in this video. Right? But you guys should know what GPUs are if you guys are planning to ride this AI infrastructure wave. But APLD is one of the main players in this, I guess, quote unquote, group of AI infrastructure plays. And it has become a very significant a name out there in the last couple of weeks, especially 3 weeks ago when it broke out of this massive $10 resistance level. And again, this is a resistance level that we've been looking at since January and February. And obviously, if you go all the way back here, it's been a very significant level multiple times in the last, 2 years and 4 years as well, right? So 2021 and 2023. So the reason why I'm bringing this back this week is that, well, we've come back down to this $10 level, specifically $10.25. And it's a pretty significant retest for a possible pullback dip buy, right? A support buyback. And if you're able to successfully turn this previous major multi-year resistance level into a new multi-year level of support, then there's going to be a complete trend shift, a regime shift, literally, right? Of long-term sellers trying to move the price back below this double-digit number of $10, and we'll be seeing a new regime of buyers trying to make sure that this name is indeed worth a double-digit share price number. And if this $10 level continues to hold this week and consolidate at least around this $10 level, or around $10.25, we should be seeing a very good bounce entry over $10.30. Okay, so now obviously the momentum is most likely going to die down, include going into this third week of a potential pullback. And we can see this on the volume itself, right? The volume is consistently dying down since the initial large move up higher 3 weeks ago here. So as long as we tightly consolidate this week and most likely next week as well, there's a good chance that we can start basing around this $10 level, this double-digit number, and it will allow the daily 10 SMA and, the weekly 10 SMA and the weekly 21 SMA, this red line and light blue line respectively, to finally catch up to the weekly candlesticks shown here. Okay, now with all of that in mind, if you go back down to the daily time frame, right? This is a very, very orderly pullback, right? We have lowered and smaller tight price ranges from the initial impulsive rejection move that we had since we retested this $15 whole number resistance level. And again, this is a multi-year level as well. If you just go all the way back, right? This goes all the way back to 2021 and 2022, right? And so this $15 level, very, very significant, which is the reason why we also rejected it in a very orderly manner, is what I would say. And we continue to move down from that point forward. Now, on the daily time frame, when we came back down to retest the $10 level, or $10 and 10.25 right here, 10.25 level here, we coincided with the daily 21 SMA as well. And so as long as we're able to consolidate right at this $10 level, and as long as the price continues to consolidate in between the area of the daily 10 and the daily 21 SMAs, okay, we should be able to form a very nice base above the $10 level and eventually break back over the daily 10 SMA. All right, so eventually, just from the behaviors of my SMAs and how used to how relatively easy, I guess, how comfortable I've become using the daily 10 and the daily 21 SMAs, I would expect the daily 10 SMA to kind of make a move like this, right? Okay, so it will come back down eventually to retest with the daily candlesticks and acting as an area of SMA resistance, and ultimately the price will have to break over the daily 10 SMA, which is where we'll be able to see kind of this curvature of the daily 10 SMA to occur and eventually rise back up higher as prices also begin to move up higher as well. Okay, so the daily 10 SMA should become an area of SMA support by then, right? And then for the daily 21 SMA, I would expect to see something like this. Okay, right? So since it is a longer term, short term SMA, right? If you guys understood what I said there, I would expect to see the daily 21 SMA finding some, I guess, support around 1025 to around 10, maybe around 60-ish. Okay, right around here, as long as the price continues to move relatively sideways. And eventually the 21 SMA will flatline and eventually move lower as long as the price starts to move back up higher. And eventually once it reclaims the daily 10 SMA. All right, so at some point, once the prices begin to do this, right? Okay, we should be seeing both the daily 10 and daily 21 SMAs curling back up higher to support a potential move back up higher. All right, and so this is exactly what I would expect to see since I have been working with my SMAs for quite some time now, and I have become very accustomed and used to how my SMAs behave and move. All right, so this is just my prediction. All right. So with that being said, make sure you guys read the actual report and top-down analysis on APLD, including the complete 3-point game plan along with the specific option contracts that I want you guys to use and execute on for this ticker if our trade is executed this week. All right. Now, last but not least, I do want to go over a ticker, a trade idea from this week's list, Momentum Mentions list. And that is Reddit, right? Ticker symbol RDDT. Now, this name is going to be simply, purely from a technical perspective. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. And again, that's the reason why it's on the list, because we want to be looking at this purely from a technical angle, right? Now, Reddit was also an official swing trade idea in the CFO Swinger Watch Report a couple weeks ago. Well, I should say a couple months ago at this point, because Reddit was looking very, very good from a fundamental perspective. Now, even based on a fundamental perspective, right? Technically, this one's looking very, very good. Still, right, since a couple months ago. And Reddit here has been holding very, very strong compared to the overall markets last week. And in fact, this one had a massive gap up from a daily perspective here. And in fact, it had two gap up areas from 2 Fridays ago, and then last Monday, and then obviously last Tuesday. And so these consistent gap ups are very, very telling of how strong this ticker is from a technical perspective. And the fact that we have not filled in these two gap up areas also clearly indicates that there is a lot of strength in this specific name. And so I really want to see Reddit upholding these two gap up areas, especially the most recent gap up. So at least upholding around 132, okay, which is also the reason why I give you guys a long bounce entry at 132.50, the next whole number level, okay, or the next increment of the whole number level from 132, and I would expect to see this 132 area being held, or at least 132.50 area being held, and eventually moving back up higher, or ideally we can just continue to form a nice tight, high and tight Momo bull flag, right? Momentum filled bull flag. And as long as we make some sort of a bull flag, all right, maybe it might look like this, okay? We could be seeing a potential breakout later this week or maybe into early next week. All right, so I really want you guys to take a look at this name and keep this name on your watch lists, because this will be a very good potential MM name, right? Momentum mentions name. All right, and again, you guys can read everything in the report of what I said in on this Reddit trade, potential trade, and also the specific option contracts that I really want you guys to use and execute on if we do see a very good entry point on Reddit this week. All right, so that is it for this video. If this technical analysis video was very insightful, but most importantly, applicable, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. And if you're new here and aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. But also, if you're watching this video when it just became public and you would like to watch this video a day earlier when it's private, the only thing you need to do is become one of the many readers of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, which will automatically give you complete full access to the private CFO Discord community, where you can expedite and further your learning in trading. Okay, good luck, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning.